Hi guys, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to the Baseline. Today's podcast is going to be about the fate of 240,000 Ukrainians that currently are in the United States. And it's going to be interesting to dive into this, so buckle up because today we're going to dive into the developing story that could impact over 240,000 Ukrainians living right here in the United States. And we're talking about temporary protected status, or TPS, and the reports that the Trump administration may be planning to revoke it. So now, before we get into the details, let's clear one thing up. TPS isn't GPS, though you might need one to navigate through this mess. So let's see what happened. And the TPS was granted to Ukrainians during the fleeing war, the war that's still ongoing, by the way. So why are we talking about stripping protections and sending them back into a literal war zone? Let's try to break this down, okay? So what's actually happening? According to multiple sources, including Reuters, CBS News, and 3 Trump administration insiders, there's a plan in motion to remove legal protections for Ukrainians as a part of a larger effort to deport over 1.8 million people. This includes not just Ukrainians, but also Venezuelans, Afghans, Cubans, and others who were granted humanitarian relief under the Biden administration. The timing, it's really interesting. So now the White House is denying these claims, calling it fake news, which I really hope it is. But let's also be real that there is a pattern here. This policy wasn't just pulled out of thin air. It was already in the works. The timing is what makes it eyebrow-raising, right? Right after Trump and Zelensky have their very public fallout. Is it a coincidence? You guys give me your opinion. So what happens? What happens if TPS is revoked? Here is what it looks like if this goes through. Okay, Ukrainians who relied on TPS won't just lose work permits. They'll be fast-tracked for deportation. No access to asylum or any other protections. And many could be sent back to active war zones, which is just horrifying. And let's not forget, this isn't just about Ukrainians. This move could affect Venezuelans, Cubans, Afghans, many of whom fled their totalitarian governments and regimes and their war-torn countries. So the big question here is, trial balloon, or is it actually a policy shift? So let's take a look. Politicians do this thing called trial balloons. They leak controversial policy to see how the public will react to them. And if it's unpopular, they walk it back. Does that sound familiar? We've seen Trump do this before. And if people freak out, he calls it fake news. So if his base loves it, he goes full steam ahead. So this begs the question. Does he actually intend to go through with this, or is this just another strategic move to gauge public sentiment? What can we do? If you're concerned about this, don't just sit there. Let's call your representatives, speak up, because once TPS protections are gone, it's nearly impossible to get them reinstated. And we're not just talking about policies here. We're talking about real people, real lives. So please keep that in mind. At the end of the day, this just isn't about politics. It's about whether Americans keep its word. It's about whether or not Americans keep their word. And whether we honor our commitments, whether we send people back into danger because it's politically expedient or convenient. So what do you think? Is this just another distraction tactic, Or is it a preview of what's coming if Trump is reelected? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's have this conversation because it's important. We're talking about war and human beings and us, the United States of America. We should really reach out to these people and let them know they're safe and they don't have to worry about going back into danger. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you the next round on the Baseline.